Hey, what's up, people? It's Darren, and this is part one of a 4-part series that we're doing called Teach Me to Pray. And this is your midweek moment that I just want to connect with you for a couple minutes to remind you to pray, to teach you to pray. That's what Jesus did with his followers. Now, these guys would have known about prayer. They would have prayed before. They would have been taught about prayer. They knew about prayer. But there was something in the way Jesus prayed that these guys said, Jesus, you gotta teach us to do that. So that's what we hope to do this week, to teach us all to practice this thing called prayer. And over the next few weeks, we're gonna show up in your inboxes with a couple short videos, with one short video each week. We'll show up on social media. And every Wednesday night during this series, we're gonna meet on Facebook and Instagram at 7 p.m., streaming it live, to pray together, to shout out to God, to call to him, and to encourage one another to pray. So we'd love to see you there tonight at 7 p.m. Now, we started this series off by saying that we've got to get ready to pray. You got to prepare to pray. Of course, you can pray anywhere. I mean, you can pray in your car, you can pray trying to fall asleep, you can pray before a meal, you can pray, while you go for a run, and that's all great. But Jesus did something unique. He did something that they noticed, that he kept getting away and finding a quiet place. In fact, you might say it like this: he found a space and a place to do much more than say grace. There was something more than just throwing up a prayer for Jesus. He would get away and he'd be alone with God. And he got ready for it. And we all know how to get ready for other things. I mean, getting ready is pretty common in life. You know how to get ready for date night. You know how to get ready for vacation. You know how to get up and get ready for the day, get ready for work. So how do you get ready to pray? Well, that's what we talked about in week 1. And I wonder if you had a chance to practice that this week. If you haven't, don't give up, don't quit. You can start today. You can start tomorrow. You can start anytime you want. That's what we're here for, to encourage you to get ready to pray. So how do you do that? Well, number one, I think you have to decide, does this even matter to you? Do you really want to know God? Do you want to connect with him? Do you want to experience what it means to be close to God? Do you believe it's possible to be close to God? And if you do, if you believe that, if you really want that, then there's some things you can do to get ready to pray. Number one, you've got to turn off the distractions. You got to turn your phone off. You got to put it down. You got to turn the TV off, the radio off, the noise off. You got to figure out a way to turn the noise off. Have you done that this week? Listen, this is good for you regardless, but have you turned the noise off in order to do the next thing? And the next thing is to find your place, find your space, and commit to that space every day. Mine is in my guest bedroom because the kids don't go in there. It's my little space that I got a little desk in there and a bed there, and I can kind of kneel beside it, and it's a great place to be alone. And then you've got to decide your time. Like, when are you going to do this? You got to decide in advance, this is when I'm getting away with God. For me, it's in the mornings because I know my kids aren't up yet. I'm by myself. I'd love to do it at night, but I get too tired. And so that's my time to be away with God. And you can put it in your calendar. Schedule it sometime. Maybe for you it'll be lunchtime. Maybe for you it'll be the evening time. But for me, it's in the morning, and I make sure that that's the time I get away with God. Now, that doesn't mean I don't pray throughout the day. It just means that's the time I prepare to really connect with God. And the last thing I would say is this, is you can make a list and get ready and prepared. What do you want to pray about? What do you want to talk to God about? What do you want to thank him for? Well, what are you grateful for? What do you need help with? What do you need to confess before God? What's your struggle? What's your anxiety? You got something you need to talk to him about? Write it down and then bring it to you and just get before him and pray. And finally, expect God to show up. Just expect him to show up and expect to wait sometimes to show up. The author of the Psalms wrote it like this. He said, listen, I'm confident of this. I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. So wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart. Wait for the Lord. Listen, I'm confident of this. If you'll chase God, you'll see him too. You'll see his goodness. You will see his goodness. So get ready and begin to pray. I hope I see you tonight at 7 p.m. where we'll pray together.